focusing on what our job is as Congress. And I wish that the media would focus really on the great things that we have done, whether it was the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which has created so much opportunity across the United States. It's given bonuses to those low-income, middle-income wage earners.
But I got a sense from that you were at 1.8 million citizenship thing if it were not for the border security. So they have to be together.
They have to be. They have to be.
Senator,
they have to have border security.
Thank you very, very much. I know you've got a crazy schedule.
Yes.
The one and only Cadillac Escalade. Purchase this 2018 Escalade with 1.9% APR for 60 months. Visit Cadillac of Portland.
Honor right now to have the Energy Secretary of the United States with us, the former governor of Texas, longest serving governor, I think, in this country for a while, right?
For a while.
For a while. That was then. You know,
Terry Branstad.
The Iowa granddad,
yes,
right?
Sir.
But the Texas granddad, and now the Energy Secretary, Rick Perry. Good to see you.
Thank you, Neil. You're looking well, my friend.
So are you. Markets didn't look so well today. Do you get nervous when you see a day like this, or that energy
No, but I
issues
watched you
tumble?
yesterday, and you. I think you're spot on. You know, there's lots of dynamics going on out there. So we've had quite a run. What I watch is the energy markets, and those are looking up, and people understand that the opportunities in that sector right now. You think about it. 15 years ago, we were hearing from people that were talking about peak oil, that we were done. There wasn't any more energy left in America.
Now we're the world's number one producer.
Now we're the number one producer in the world. So the world is a very dynamic place. We had the Qataris in today, and they're in the process of opening and starting a LNG export facility that they're going to be the majority owner of down on the Texas-Louisiana Gulf Coast.
So bygones there, and we just...
Listen, it's a dynamic world.
Right.
Yesterday may have been someone who was not as friendly with you. Today we find as a real friend, you know, whether it's in a lot of arenas. So the point is, energy and the geopolitics of energy have really changed. America, and we have this opportunity, and we're taking advantage of it. We're hopefully leveraging America's interest around the world. When I went over to Switzerland and spoke to a group, I talked to them about, you know, you need to understand what, from my perspective, what America first is. And it's about being competitive. It's about America that when you buy LNG, I want you to think about America first. And so we have a great opportunity in this country to not only market, but to help a lot of countries' quality of life with our resources. We've seen Texas a great example of it. When you shifted from older, inefficient power plants to cleaner burning natural gas, we saw our emissions really go down. 60% decrease in NOx and 50% decrease in nitric oxide and of sulfur dioxide, the SOx. The issue.
This is a very bad chemistry class I'm going to. Let me ask you a little bit about something
Chemistry
that does
changed my life.
It did. It was hard on my life. Let me ask you a little bit about this, because as governor of Texas, you were very effective at recruiting business to come to Texas, and you would get in jousting, kind of kidding with the various state governors. But now there's a real problem going on in these high tax states, New Jersey, for example, where now the Democrats have the run of the table. They control the governor's mansion and both branches of the legislative government. 8 such states have that. And a lot of people are concerned that they're going to push businesses out of the state, in New Jersey, for example. And some fear that a hike in taxes, let's say in New Jersey, could do just that.
Well, that's what competition's all about. I mean, the people of New Jersey, the businesses of New Jersey, just like they did in California and other states, they'll make a decision on whether or not can we stay there, do we want to stay there, or
what
South Carolina or Florida.
What would you do in that case when you heard that kind of stuff? Like California was a good example.
I would already be running the radio ads.
Is that right?
Rick Scott, who is doing a fabulous job in
Florida, guys had a little competition.
Well, we did, and he's still doing a fabulous job of from a business standpoint, making Florida a really pro-business state. Governor Abbott still very much involved in putting those.
Well, Phil Murphy in New Jersey just took over. Still wants to.
Would be up there promoting them passing that and then saying, come to my
get
state.
That business.
And because that's the beauty of what the 10th Amendment was all about, letting these states compete against each other. And you create these laboratories of innovation, and businesses will figure out where they want to live. So people go where they feel welcome. Capital goes where it's welcome.
All right, Governor, Secretary, thank you. Very good seeing you again.
Good to see you.
Be well.
You're welcome.
It's Spangled.
Respond to some of that, because what about this notion that there maybe hasn't been as full a reckoning as some would like to see in both parties, not just on the Republican side, but on the Democratic side?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? I feel that women, no matter what political affiliation you fall under, we're all up against the same power structures right now. We're all up against the same issues.
Because,
and that's why it's even more important for us to band together and be our sister's
maybe
keeper.
Hasn't been as full
it's in these
a
moments that we
as
kind of have to recognize that we're only as strong as we are when we're all united. And I would love to see more of that, but we can't do so unless we call out. That's the thing, right? I feel that women, no matter there, you know, like it still boggles my mind that we have gotten affiliation you fall under. We're all up against the same power structure about, you know, the tapes that came out against Trump, against the same issues. And that's why it's even more important for us to band together and be able to sexually assault women. Our sisters
hasn't been as full a reckoning as some would like to see
that we're only as strong as we are when we're all united. And I would love to see more of that, but we can't do so unless we call out. That's the thing, right? I feel that women, no matter there, you know, like literally, it still boggles my mind that we have gotten affiliation.
That we have done this year as females and what has been done within our movement. But that's his choice. Those are his staff writers' choice on that one. But I do think that women should, when we look at it, we look at healthcare, we look at education, and we look at unemployment issues. And all three of those, the president is making great strides in this year. Even if he doesn't get the credit, the numbers don't lie. I mean, unemployment's at a 17-year low. The stock market's high. Education, Common Core, which across the board, most Republicans and Democrats agreed was a bad staff writers the choice on that one, but I do think that women should, when we look at it,
decide what he wants to highlight.
when we look at it,
you can't just leave women out and how these issues are impacting us. We will not be silent. We're not going to get left by the wayside again. And if that's what the State of the Union hopes to accomplish, then it'll utterly go down as a historic failure.
Zora?
I fully agree with that. I think there's a fundamental issue right now, particularly in media and in sort of the political sphere, which is like duck syndrome, where on the surface we're trying to show all of the things that we're sort of smoothly gliding through, but underneath we're all sort of just treading water, trying to figure out what's going on politically. I think there is a political crisis in terms of DACA, in terms of all of these human rights issues. And if we continue to tout like stock market numbers, we're just
by the wayside again. So I do think I hope that Trump does focus on that. It'll utterly go down as a historic failure.
Now, particularly in
his policies were hurting, and in fact that actually defines a lot of the gender gap that we do see. You see those partisan splits, and you see Democratic women, and since more women have tended to vote Democratic in recent years, difference.
But there's also a partisan divide just in terms of what women believe about other women holding office, Leslie. Just
Because
Republican women you talk to, they are very evangelized in the idea of being a part of that process, but they may think there's a better way to do their public duty. They may feel that it's to start a small business or to lobby Congress on certain issues or be education advocates. In other words, they might find just a different platform that's more effective for them. It doesn't necessarily mean they don't think women should be running and in leadership, but I do think the undercurrent here is fascinating because more Republican women have been asked to step to the table, especially now, to have that voice, to have that independence. And Republican women you talk to, they are very evangelized in the idea of being part of that process, but they may think there's a better way to do their public duty. And that's going to be a consistent challenge to start a small business, or to lobby diversity within the party, not only gender, but ethnic.
Zerlina, the same is not true for Democrats, right? There is an overwhelming amount of enthusiasm among Democratic women. A lot of them are running for office for the first time. What have you heard about the sort of catalytic events that have driven these women to run?
Donald Trump being the president is the main thing that is driving so many women to run for office, because I think that, you know, an authentic straight shooter with no experience, right? And he is the president now. So many women, they wait until they have all the listed qualifications for a specific job before applying. In this case, they saw Donald Trump win the presidency, and they say, well, I could be in Congress, I could be in my state house. And a lot of women have answered that call. Emily's List reports they've received 3 times the amount of calls than they would normally receive. They've torn down a wall, built a separate office specifically because of the amount of requests. So I think that Donald Trump is the catalytic event that you might be referencing there.
Yeah, Linda, let me ask you, just to follow up on Zerlina's point, what about the notion that sometimes a barrier to entry can be the perception that one is not qualified enough? Does the actual presidency of Donald Trump then give
state house? And a lot of women have answered that call. Emily's List reports they've received 3 times the amount of calls than they would normally receive. They've torn down a wall, built a separate office specifically because of the amount of requests. So I think that Donald Trump is the catalytic event that you might be referencing there.
Yeah, Linda, let me ask you, just to follow up on Zerlina's point, what about the notion that sometimes a barrier to entry can be the perception that one is not qualified enough? Does the actual presidency of Donald Trump then give
state house? And a lot of women have answered that call. Emily's List reports they've received 3 times the amount of calls than they would normally receive. They've torn down a wall, built a separate office specifically because of the amount of requests. So I think that Donald Trump is the catalytic event that you might be referencing.
Linda, let me ask you, just to follow up on Zerlina's point, what about the notion that sometimes a barrier to entry can be the perception that one is not qualified enough? Does the actual presidency of Donald Trump then give
state house? And a lot of women have answered that call. And a lot of women have answered that call. Emily's List reports they've received 3 times the amount of calls than they would normally receive. They've torn down a wall, built a separate office specifically because of the amount of requests. So I think that Donald Trump is the catalytic event that you might
as they contemplate going ahead and trying to run for office? Is that a factor?
It's a great question, because if you can close the ethnic gap, particularly with Hispanics, and the sensitivity to be, like I talked about earlier, if you found that we were talking in language that was inclusive, that actually closed the gender gap for Republicans as well, because they were singing off the same sheet, that Republican women were looking for a cohesive, inclusive type of solution that was compassionate and effective. And right now they feel they're not getting that. So does it make them want to run? I always say they need the 3 C's: the competency, cash, and credibility. If they can have that formula, then they can garner support. Unfortunately, they used to have to wait just for party leaders, and now you saw after the Tea Party movement and some other things, and now especially on the left, you can break that down through social media, raise money outside your state, find different platforms, and do it in a way that women are redefining. I'm curious and anxious for more Republican women to move into that stream.
Right. Anthony Salvanto, Leslie Sanchez, Zerlina Maxwell, and Linda Tran, my thanks to you all. Coming up, one of the most contentious issues in Congress and across the country, as we've been talking about immigration.
We will take a closer look. Closer look.
I think in the end, you just got to talk to people. You're not, I mean, the report is to the Congress. Yeah, technically they're in the chambers, but I found when I do my state of the state or budget address, you don't disregard the lawmakers, but you're really talking to the people of your jurisdiction. I'm talking to the people of Wisconsin. The president and any past president should be talking to the people of America. And that's where he needs to lay out what's happening, why it's happening. I think he needs to lay out clear optimism about looking at where people are working, but then realize there are still people that need more help, and the best way to do that is to plow forward with a positive, aggressive agenda, talk about the impacts of tax cuts, talk about putting more people to work, talk about welfare reform, getting people off the sidelines and in the game like we're doing here in Wisconsin, talk about how to repeal and replace Obamacare, and talk about how to go forward with an infrastructure plan that works in partnership with states and local governments. He can do that.
All right, we'll just see if he does do that. All right, hope springs eternal. I'm sure the White House staff is taking notes on what you just said. Governor, thank you very much. Thank you very
who are no longer out of control, judges who are doing their job rather than trying to legislate from the bench, and a really job-creating tax bill is making a big difference. And I believe people can see that. They can who are no longer out of control, judges who are doing their job rather than trying to legislate from the bench, and a really job-creating tax bill is making a big difference. And I believe people can see that. They can who are no longer out of control, judges who are doing their job rather than trying to legislate from the bench, and a really job-creating tax bill is making a big difference.
It's very erratic, to say the least, Ed. And I think of the office of Washington, of Lincoln, of Roosevelt, of Kennedy, and that's what he holds. And my hope for the American people is that he can reach deep down in some way. I don't hold out for that. I think he has said some racist things. I think he has said some horrible things and very vulgar things, and has demeaned the office of the president.
The most about the job was that governing requires heart. Business requires head. He said it's all about the dollars. But this job, the first, time he's done it, of course, and been there a year, has required more heart than he might have anticipated.
I think every president has probably thought about the
But the country was relatively split on whether or not that was worth shutting down the government over. And I think Democrats have learned that lesson very quickly. We were talking earlier about how there was a meeting earlier today of Democratic leaders and members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus who agreed they will not try shutting down the government over this issue again, that it's just going to have to play out now through normal means. And Democrats still believe they have the high ground on this because they believe the public's on their side, trying to get this issue resolved.
And Ed, you asked Congressman Crowley about all of the Democratic responses we'll hear tonight. Here's what he said specifically about Massachusetts Democratic Congressman Joseph Kennedy.
I actually recommend the Joe Kennedy. I give this speech when Leader Pelosi asked me my opinion on it. And I actually said that Joe Kennedy can actually deliver it in Spanish
He
as well.
could. That's the ironic thing.
He's a Peace Corps graduate,
Yeah.
and I think with an incredibly important name for historically for our country. But Joe Kennedy, in his own right, is an incredible human being, a great, compassionate and empathetic young man, and I think has a great future in our country. And he's going to be speaking from a technical
Joe Kennedy was a congressman from Massachusetts as well. He's in his late 30s. As Congressman Crowley points out, fluent in Spanish, a former local prosecutor there, elected a few years ago. Many see him potentially as a future Speaker of the House or Senator from Massachusetts, or, because why not, potentially President of the United States one day. And the speech he gives tonight from Fall River, Massachusetts, which is in his district, is designed to present the counter-argument and, according to excerpts at least, all right, so he's from Nebraska. And then over there, we got Edward White, who was the 9th Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and a U.S. Senator from Louisiana, but also served with the Confederacy in the Civil War. So that shows you the range of people that get statues in this building. Emancipation Hall is part of the Visitor Center, which is the underground facility
going to our low-income consumers. It will, in addition, encourage the initiative and risk-taking on which our free enterprise system depends, induce more investment, production, and capacity use, help provide the 2 million new jobs we need every year.
potential than we even imagined. So we're very excited. Economic confidence in America is at a 17-year high, while unemployment in America is at a 17-year low.
David Nelson is chief strategist at Bellpoint Asset Management. Michael Graham is a CBSN political contributor, columnist for the Boston Herald, and host of Michael in the Morning podcast. And Molly Hoop, CBSN political contributor and Capitol Hill reporter for The Hill. David, the president wants to tout economic success in the form of a roaring stock market. But how appropriate is that in terms of being a gauge of the health of an economy?
I wish it wouldn't use the stock market and use the economy, because the economy is roaring, and we don't need just stocks to see that. You even have noted Democrats starting to notice. You've got two Wall Street titans in the names of Jamie Dimon, Lloyd Blankfein. They're literally battling
areas or low skill areas or on the very high end. Manufacturing is a place where a relatively low skill, I don't have a full college degree guy or gal, can make more money, and you can start to close that gap. And that's the Trump strategy. Will it work? I don't know, but it's not a dumb strategy.
Molly, go ahead, Molly.
If I just let me weigh in on this one point. So earlier this evening, Paul Ryan sent out a what to watch tonight on the speech. 4 points. One of them being a rollback of regulations. And that's a kind of interesting point, because that is what Paul Ryan is saying is partially creating an opening of jobs. With the rollback of regulations, these industries and manufacturing companies are able to hire more people and spend less money on implementing some of these things.
How significant is that, David?
Thank God. I mean, we've needed that. The rollback of regulatory overreach over the last 8 years is a big part of the dynamic that's playing out in our country. He's going to talk about, how long it took
More underreported stories is about the regulatory rollback and the effects of it. The New York Times
was that important to the Republicans that they spent the first 60 days of President Trump's presidency working on that instead of going after health care reform, tax reform, etc.
David, Michael, and Molly, so much to talk about. Thank you all. Less than an hour from President Trump. We are less than an hour from President Trump's State of the Union. We are going to take a quick break.
As we continue our State of the Union coverage, we're focusing on states that could have critical impact on Congress ahead of the midterm elections. We're taking a look at why Minnesota's possible shift to swing state could do just that. Former Senator Al Franken resigned late last year following repeated allegations of sexual misconduct. That means there will be 2 open Senate seats on the ballot, one to fill the last 2 years of Franken's term, as well as fellow Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar's reelection.
There will also be 5 key House races in the state. 2 Republican and 3 Democratic seats will be targets. Those races could shift control of the chamber. Joining us now from Minneapolis is Rachel Stossenberger. She is a veteran political reporter and adjunct professor at the University of Minnesota. Rachel, let's start off with the Senate races. Both seats are up for grabs. They have been held by Democrats. Could we see the political fallout from Al Franken's sexual misconduct scandal shift those seats to red?
Well, as you said, there are 2 different seats. One is Senator Amy Klobuchar. She's considered fairly safe in her seat. The other one is Tina Smith. She was the one who was appointed to Franken's seat when he resigned. And certainly that has amped up the attention to Minnesota, given that it was a very close race in the last presidential election. And as you probably know, Minnesota has been blue longer than blue has been blue. And so there's a lot more nerves this time around.
Well, turning to the House races, freshman Republican Jason Lewis is seeking a second term in the state's 2nd congressional district, often called a swing district. How are Democrats there trying to flip the seat?
That's right. So that was a very close election in the last cycle. It was obviously his first race. The competitor who ran against him last time, Angie Craig, is running again. She's running a strong campaign so far, but she has a challenge as well, so it's not clear sailing for her. We're expecting that will be one of the nation's most watched races because it is suburban, it's rural, it's very much a swing seat, and it's anyone's game at this point, particularly with some of the suburban mood about the president.
Speaking of which, Rachel, I think a lot of people forgot that President Trump lost the state to Hillary Clinton in 2016 by only 1.5%. Do you think that would still be the case if the election were held today?
I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but the state is still very much torn. There are areas of the state where they look at President Trump and they may not like all of his behavior, but look, they say he's cut taxes, he's cut regulations, he's done what he said he would do, and frankly done what a Republican president would do. On the other hand, here in Minneapolis, you know, this is a city of the resistance. You know, it's very Democratic, and there's a lot of people who have said that he has been even worse than they expected him to be. So I would say that it would be, you know, very much a difficult fight for either side. You know, a lot of the suburban areas, some of the suburban Republicans who voted for Trump a little bit with their nose plugged, have sort of been trending against him. And so it's certainly worth watching come November here.
So that demographic of the suburban voters there, that's something worth watching. Is it trending not then in the president's direction is what it seems like at this moment in time?
That's right. You know, I think there are people who, you know, parents of children who don't want some of what the president has said to be repeated in their homes. Some of the, you know, I will go with Trump to give him a chance, feel like he hasn't lived up to that chance. On the other hand, there are areas of the state, as I said, particularly in the rural areas, where Trump continues to be very strong. And those are some of the U.S. House seats that we're going to be watching very closely, particularly in northern Minnesota and in southern Minnesota.
Rachel, let's talk about how some of the president's national policies are affecting the Minnesotans directly. Minnesota has one of the lowest uninsured rates in the country. So to what degree are Minnesotans concerned about the repeal of Obamacare, the end of the individual mandate?
That's right. So people are very concerned about the future of health care. It's not like everyone in Minnesota said Obamacare was the best thing since sliced bread. They said that Minnesota was doing quite well before. But so far, we just ended our sign-up season, and it was higher than a lot of people expected. And there are some worries that the federal government will do something to shake the boat again and perhaps hurt what has made Minnesota's healthcare system quite strong.
Well, Minnesota's unemployment rate is also one of the lowest in the nation. What are Minnesotans looking for when it comes to the White House's interaction with the labor market?
You know, again, I would say there's a tear there in this state, like there are in many states, between people who say lower taxes will increase jobs and people who say, you know, we need to support the economy as it is. We don't need a big jolt to it. The other issue on that front is some of these regulations, particularly in some of the projects that are proposed to be built. The Trump administration has been more supportive of a potential mining project in northern Minnesota, which has often struggled with the boom and bust cycle of tending to the mines. And the Trump administration has really pushed that, has moved that ball forward. Which people will say is good for jobs. On the other hand, in that same northern Minnesota area, some of the most pristine wilderness in this country, and people are quite fearful that that may change if this mining project goes forward.
Rachel, we've spent so much of tonight talking about the immigration debate. It is front and center at Congress and on the national stage. Minnesota is home to the largest
I'm Katie Kinder and I teach 8th grade English. The locking station is amazing. I mean, they've got it down to 3 minutes at the end of the day where they can get everybody's in class, get them in the station. It's fast.
Somali population in the U.S., and it also has significant presence in actually the Muslim and Hispanic communities also have a significant presence. What real-world impact has the president's travel ban and his immigration policies, what impact have those had on residents of the state?
That's right. As you know, the travel ban has affected people coming and going from Somalia, and that has been a really big concern, particularly in Minneapolis, where a lot of Somali people have made their home. You know, and so there's been some really tearful stories about what's happening to their relatives as well as to them personally. You know, Minnesota actually has the first Somali American state lawmaker was elected the same
Here's the stuff that we found that we think is significant. We think people should know it. They put it on display where you could go into a private room if you're a member of Congress and read it and see it there. The director of the FBI saw it, and interestingly, it was only a few hours later that Andrew McCabe finally stepped down. There's talk that he saw things in that memo that made him go, gee, I'm not sure that the early days of the investigation into the Trump campaign were handled correctly. So one team doesn't want to release, another team does. I keep coming down to this question. Assuming methods and sources aren't revealed, and I assume they're not, that what's the case with Paula Jones that involved him, and then he tried to evade the consequence. My point is, if it is a case that the process leads us to there's no underlying crime, but we want to charge President Trump for trying to overcome it. You can see how Trump supporters are really going to blow up at the same time if Trump isn't charged. The Trump haters, I see no good.
Or if there is evidence of crime, there's still a looming question. Would House Republicans do anything about it? Because of course, this is kicked back to them. Molly, how much prognostication is happening in the halls of Congress right now about what Robert Mueller might find?
Oh my gosh, we're awash with prognostication. If you walk through the halls and I feel like prognostication is coming at me from all angles. Oh my goodness, because nobody knows. Now the thing is that the question here is perhaps it wasn't Donald Trump himself, but those around him, aka his kids, maybe his sons, who could have had some role in this and would have known, or would, family members. And so that's kind of the question. It's one thing.
It's a concern. In other words, it is a concern that people are thinking actively about.
Yeah, it is. way that you haven't seen members of Congress previously.
Michael, how much have we crossed the Rubicon in terms of partisanship?
I think that's a really interesting question. You know, every time I think there's been a major shift and we'll never get back, somehow we make our way back. You know, I was too young for Nixon and Watergate. The Republicans took it, and you can see this on other issues. Right now, the Me Too movement. Imagine the Me Too movement in 1998, 1999, when the Monica Lewinsky scandal was this political template over what was really an event between a man and a woman. People's feelings, and we forget because we live in such a, what did I say in my Twitter in the last 3 seconds moment, that attitudes change. Time does change. A society can move. If you want to say left or right, conservative, liberal, attitudes do shift, and nothing is permanent. And I believe that some people say Trump has changed the presidency forever. I don't believe the presidency's been around. We had Nixon, we had LBJ, we had crazy Buchanan before Lincoln. You know, I mean, we've had crazy stuff. We've had horrible things happen. We had a civil war, for crying out loud, and yet somehow these institutions survive.
We have Zerlina Maxwell and Leslie Sanchez joining us soon. Before I go to them, I'll go back to you, Linda. In terms of that question of partisanship and whether or not we get back to a more perfect union, as it were, and see the sponsorship of bipartisan legislation, which is to say nothing of the passage of bipartisan legislation. Do you think there is a point in the coming years, perhaps even under this president, where such a thing is possible?
You know, I think it is. It sounds funny to say so, given all the things we've witnessed recently. But I do think that it is possible. And the only way that that's going to be true is if there is enough backlash, there's enough, people in the streets, there are enough people who make it to the ballot box this fall to register their feeling of discontent about how polarized we've become and how incapable of moving anything forward Washington, D.C. has been. I do think that, Donald Trump is changing the level of decorum, changing the way people interact in a way that is prompting people to think about getting back to some sort of semblance of previous reality and getting things back to normal so that things are working in a way that they haven't in a really, really long time.
We want to let people know, of course, we are continuing to keep our eye on the House chamber, but also keeping an eye on that picture. There, of course, you see House Speaker Paul Ryan along with Vice President Mike Pence. But we're continuing to keep an eye on that picture right there. That is the South Lawn of the White House, where President Trump at any moment is expected to come out. And we see some activity right now. He was due to leave at 8:30, we are told, so perhaps just a few minutes behind. But we are expecting him to exit the White House shortly.
The chair appoints his members of the committee on the part of the House to escort the President of the United States into the chamber.
Make its way down Pennsylvania Avenue, where, of course, we saw those lawmakers assembled. As we watch this, we want to let people know that joining us here on set, in addition to Michael Graham, is Zerlina Maxwell and Leslie Sanchez. They are CBSN political contributors. Leslie is a Republican strategist. Zerlina is a Democratic strategist. Let's talk a little bit about what you were talking about just a moment ago, this notion of the level of partisanship, Zerlina. Is there a sense that there can be a return to some...
The gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Yarmouth.
The President of the Senate, at the direction of that body, appoints the following senators as members of the committee of the part of the Senate to escort the President of the United States into the House chamber. The Senator from Kentucky, Mr. McConnell. The Senator from Texas, Mr. Cornyn. The Senator from Utah, Mr. Hatch. The Senator from South Dakota, Mr. Thune. The Senator from Wyoming, Mr. Barrasso. The Senator from Missouri, Mr. Blunt. The Senator from Colorado, Mr. Gardner. The Senator from New York, Mr. Schumer. The Senator from Washington, Mrs. Murray. The Senator from Michigan, Ms. Stabenow. The Senator from Minnesota, Ms. Klobuchar.
What's up, bro?
From West Virginia, Mr. Manchin.
Can you hear me?
And the Senator from Wisconsin, Ms. Baldwin.
The members of the escort
Can you
committee
hear
will
me?
exit the chamber through the lobby doors.
Hello? Yeah, I can hear you, man. That's a sign from the Trump gods. Okay, let me get the camera on. Hold on, brother. Sorry, you caught me with my pants down. Well, not literally, my friend, but... Dude, so they're gonna fucking build the gallows, I think. Alright.
job all the time prosecuting terrorism cases in federal court here in downtown. They do it all the time. And so I think that we have to get outside of, not in my backyard mentality. Nobody wants a giant prison built in their district. But again, I'm sure that they can spin it. It creates jobs and helps the economy in that community. And when people are in prison, they're literally not in your backyard. That is just simply by definition.
If I were running for office in 2018, I would love to be running keep Gitmo open. That would be
no one's going to run on that. But what
thing.
I'm saying is that I think that we dehumanize the people in Gitmo and act like they're all the worst of the worst. When if you look at the history of how they ended up in Gitmo, a lot of people were just rounded up by people exerting revenge that were members of the Taliban when the war first started in Afghanistan. So putting everybody in the same bucket, that they're all the worst of the worst, I don't think that's true.
There is also the inordinate cost per prisoner in Gitmo compared to federal maximum security prisons.
And that has been the consternation, right? Is it effective? Is it breeding more terrorism internally? There were just numerous types of assumptions and some falsehoods about this kind of thing. But the interesting part here is, again, he is taking unilateral action, just like the travel ban. By the way, you are informed now. On the second travel ban 2.0, there was a little bit more facilitation within his administration.
Well, and we're now talking about Gitmo,
right?
Right, leading to the President's State of the Union.
Exactly.
We want to let our viewers know, of course, Second Lady Karen Pence, they're entering the House chamber. You can see the lawmakers have mostly taken their seats. We are awaiting, of course, President Trump's arrival. We saw his motorcade depart the White House, and we saw it on Pennsylvania Avenue just a short time ago. But there, of course, Vice President Mike Pence, along with House Speaker Paul Ryan. Leslie, you bring up a larger point here about this notion of the accomplishments viewed through the lens of the undoing, the notion that for the president's supporters, perhaps, is that all that is sort of required? Is that the metric, that the undoing of some of President Obama's actions are really what it is that they will see as the fulfillment of President Trump's campaign pledges?
Well, whether it is fair or not, many have an issue with presidents overreaching through executive order. It's completely bypassing the legislative process to just unilaterally make whatever decisions they want on major issues. You've seen the president take advantage of that early on with the travel ban and numerous other things, which really, heats up the left and the right to that extent, right? So you had a lot of people, it created a lot of confusion, and we don't really understand the intent of where the policy is going to land on that. It really kind of puts it in the air. You could say the same thing with Dreamers and DACA. It was a false hope that was one day going to potentially come to the end with a new administration, which it did. So again, it puts all the balls in the air, and you don't really know where they're going to fall. It takes Congress out of the equation, and that's not necessarily a good thing.
Well, and it is a lesson, I think, from the last years of the Obama administration, right, Zerlina? There was a thinking inside that administration that, look, Congress isn't playing ball with us. We're not going to get anything done. And so we are going to legislate through executive order. And we are seeing the harvest of that, which is that as easily as things can be done with the sweep of a pen, they can also be undone.
Absolutely. And I would also argue that packing the federal courts with conservative-leaning judges who were in the Federalist Society will also be damaging to lasting legacies in terms of legislation, because if you don't have a balanced court that protects legislation like Obamacare or another piece of legislation in the future, you're always going to have a new administration coming in and undoing what the previous one did. I would argue, though, that he's doing traditionally Republican things. A lot of the things he's
All right, how you doing, Brother Ty? Welcome everybody. It's Tuesday night. This is gonna be an exciting night, I hope. State of the Union address for 2018. You guys can see there. We've got a couple of feeds going tonight. So we got Fox News going. That's what you're seeing right now. And the other one is a little CBS News. You never know which one's gonna be showing which one will go to commercial. So we'll try to keep track of all of them tonight. And I see Mama Winter's in here. Sorry, you guys, we had a little sound issue in the beginning. So, but
yeah, you heard us talking about our local and federal politicians.
Yeah, we might have been. I don't even know what we said. We might have been bad talking somebody or who knows.
Thanks, Kim. Hey, Jenna, how you doing?
Hey, I saw Agnes in here. I don't know if she's still in, but Agnes, thank you for coming in and sitting in with us tonight.
Captain America.
Captain America's in the house. Captain, I hope, Brian, I hope you're feeling better, brother. I think a couple weeks ago we talked and you were feeling down. I know we've all been fighting it, but hope everything's good. Let's see who else is in here.
West Virginia in the house. I heard it's a little cold in West Virginia.
Did I see Greg Gutfeld's idea tonight? Is that the one where he had the idea of having ICE be there because the Democrats were saying they were going to bring illegal aliens?
There was actually he was a senator. I think a senator had brought that up.
Is that? I didn't see what Greg Gutfeld's idea
yeah.
was. I didn't.
It was a senator who brought it up. Hey, give me a second. Do you mind if I go ahead?
Yeah.
Check this out. This is do you like my shirt?
Nice.
Pretty cool.
Hang on, I
Linda
can't
Eden.
quite
Hey
see
guys,
it.
I am watching C-SPAN direct broadcast, no commentating, the real deal, and listening to you. What channel are you lined up with? A great night to be an American. Right now, we are with Fox News and CBS News.
Yep. What you see right there is I didn't see the back of your shirt, Ty.
Oh, it's just the front. It's the
front.
less deplorables.
Hang on, show me again. I got you on a bigger screen here. Oh yeah.
They got remember from
from Les Mis.
Miserabilis, and they got the American flag and the Trump flag. Yeah, I love it.
So yeah, we're hooked.
So I'm excited for tonight.
Yeah, I am too. We're hooked up with the Fox News. It's video.foxnews.com. You can find it there, and then the other one here, I'll show you what we've got running.
She's wanting to know what sound we'll be running when we run sound. That's, I think, what she's wanting to know.
Oh, which sound? Probably Fox News sound, I would assume.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because
please.
They're probably not gonna do a whole lot of commentating over, and you know, you and I'll have some commentating over the top of it, but most of it we'll all be listening. But yeah, so that's the plan.
I mean, and I'm just ready. I mean, I don't know. I'm excited. Release the memo. You guys, please keep hitting that hashtag, release the memo. They are talking about how we're knocking that hashtag out of the park. Hit that hashtag, like and share, get this out. We're going to have a good time tonight. We know there's tons of other people doing this, but hey, guys, we're going to have a good time with this one. So all you that are always jumping in here and listening to us, thanks for coming back tonight and spending it with us.
We'd probably be here doing this if there was nobody watching, just because it's going to be one of those nights. So this will be fun just to
I'm so excited.
Watch it live.
Excited. I've got goosebumps. Oh, yeah. I mean, to be able to sit and share with our friends. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
So please like and share and get it out, guys.
So I got it. I did some setup work. This is the first time I've done this. I got a few extra things set up. I wish you could see. I actually hooked up my second monitor. See here, we can go back and forth between. There you guys see Fox, and now you see CBS. Ooh, magic. And now watch.
Wow.
Fox. No, wait. This is magic. Here we go, right?
Wow.
Hey.
I'm excited.
It's the little things
I'm
in
excited.
Life. Ooh, Jennifer's got pie. Pie. I want memo. Hey, Shenandoah, how you doing?
That's right, Susie. Release the memo. And hashtag, hey, Shaky, how you doing? It's good to see you in here.
Let's see. Let's just double check here and see if we've got any.
The First Lady just entered.
There she is.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited for this, guys.
This is going to be awesome. Can't even believe it.
Oh, I know. Hey, Michelle. Kansas Patriot in the house. That's right, Captain America.
Woo-wee. Now, some of these times, I mean, you guys will still be able to hear us, but sometimes depending on what the camera angles are showing or the zoom-ins, I might.
That's right, Chris.
Switch back and forth and have a couple different videos, but you'll be able to hear
Francis,
us.
I want to give a shout out to Mark and Grady. Mark is a Patriot that. He does a lot of intel work for us in Colorado, and he's always a solid Patriot. So I just want to throw him a shout out. He's in here tonight.
Hey, not only does he do that, but dude, Mark Grady, he shares a lot. I see him. He shares our videos and other people's videos and like really good information on a lot of pages.
Yep. Awesome, huh?
Yeah, I see him sharing a lot. So
Mark gets it done. So thanks, Mark.
He
shout
does.
out to you, brother.
Thank you. You did awesome.
Are they going to give us a little bit of... Oh, here he comes. Is he coming?
I don't know.
Oh, and I don't know if you do have sound on. I don't know. I can't tell. I'm not hearing anything, so I'm not sure.
Oh, you don't hear it?
No, I don't hear it.
Oh, yeah, it's on. Let me see if I can.
Good evening from Capitol Hill. I'm Shepard Smith on Fox.
I heard it in the
Television
beginning a
stations
little
across
bit.
America.
Did you?
Here on Capitol Hill, the president is about to give his first.
I know there's going to be a delay.
Speech
And
last year was to a joint session of Congress, but
You
not
should hear it.
officially a State of the Union since he had just taken office.
I'm not picking it up, brother.
The White House, though, tonight has given us excerpts
Figures.
of the speech. They show the president plans to say there has never been a better time to start living the American dream. And together, he will say, we're building a safe, strong, and
What I'll do is hold on. I'll run and get. If we can't figure it out, I'll run and get another set of earphones. Because I know in the beginning when you first set up, I could hear it when we first hopped on.
which he says is already paying off for millions of Americans.
But what I'll do is I'll jump really quick and go get a set of wireless earphones for my cell phone, and then I'll watch it on Fox Live.
Calling for policies.
So give me a second.
Okay. And American families.
I'll go find it.
And also protect our citizens. Citizens, he'll say, of every background, color.
I heard that earlier. He was,
Immigration, of course, was a
some
big
people were
sticking
complaining
point in
that
the
he,
standoff
well, of course
that
on
led to a
CBS
government
News, they were
shutdown
saying,
earlier this month. The deadline
hang on, let me
to prevent another possible shutdown
turn this
is a
down
week from Thursday. The First Lady
just a
there,
touch.
who arrived just a short time ago with some of her guests. And as we wait for the president to enter, he's getting...
So when I was listening to CBS News just a little bit ago, a little bit before we started, they were complaining about this because they got all the news got some excerpts, some preview excerpts from his speech, and CBS News cued in really quick on how that the president is saying he's talking about doing the best for our citizens, and they immediately jumped on fire or got lit on fire about how we're not talking about the citizens, we're talking about everyone. Well, you may be, but the president is very clear, and he chose to use the word citizens for a reason. So I'll be interested to see kind of what the context is of that. But I don't know. Hopefully Ty will be able to hear it. I can hear it.
Yeah, I can't. But what I'm gonna do is just set up to pick it up on my. I'll just listen to it with an earbud from my cell phone.
We must have had a glitch again on this.
It happens.
Well, you know what I found is that when I once we get everything set up, and then I go back and add a few or change a couple of things, that it messes it up. I'm supposed to restart it and get it restarted, and we just didn't do that tonight. So at least you can hear me.
Yeah.
I think everybody can hear you or hear me.
I want to see how the leg's looking because I can't see the live feed. Francis, what are you looking at right now? Is it the First Lady and it just switched? Now you see Neil Gorsuch?
On the Facebook feed?
On the Fox Live feed.
What do you mean though? The one that's shown through Facebook or the one I see?
Yeah, what are you seeing live on Fox right now? I'm just seeing if we're not having a leg difference. Are you seeing Paul Ryan and the Vice President on your live right now? What you're seeing?
Okay, but what are you asking me? On the computer's Fox's live feed, or what all the viewers are seeing on Facebook?
No, on Fox's live feed.
Right now I see the First Lady standing next to either police officer or firefighter.
Okay, I'm a little ahead of you, so I'll have to back off. I'll be about 4 seconds ahead of you on this live feed through Fox News.
Oh, okay.
But we'll be good, man. At least we got it figured out halfway.
All right. Now everybody listen to us figure it out. So hey, that's what we got to do.
Thanks, everybody. Hey, we're figuring it out, guys. We're learning as we go. As we get better equipment and stuff, hopefully,
it'll get easier.
We'll make it work.
It will get easier.
So yeah, I'm really excited for today, man. I'm really excited for today.
Dude, I can't. Okay, so we know that yesterday that the House voted, right, to release the memo. So as of yesterday, the president had 5 days. He had 5 days to. If he does nothing, it gets released. All right. If he decides, which I'm not exactly sure why he would.
There he is.
But if he decides, then he can stop it from becoming public. But I don't foresee that happening.
Well, I just want to throw a disclaimer out here right now, brother. I am a God-fearing, American patriot, and there's a chance, I'm just throwing this out there, that I might shed a tear during this because
Fair
this
enough.
man brings it out in me. So I'm just throwing it out there. If you see Ty Freedom wipe a tear, or if you hear a little, I just can't help it because this guy, when he speaks, sometimes he gets me. So I'm just throwing the disclaimer out there ahead of time.
I think everyone will understand tonight. This is going to be big. I don't think he's going to say anything about the memo. Here we go.
He's the George Washington of our time.
Here he is.
This will be the most watched speech ever given by a politician in the history of man.
It's going to be huge. Hey, Naoma, thanks for coming back. Good to see you again.
What's up, everybody? I can't see comments.
She said, Naoma said, boy, is that guy standing next to Melania grinning. Yeah, he was. So here he comes.
Couldn't guess why. Yes, we are going to have a little late,
Yes,
I'm a little bit ahead of you.
President.
Oh,
You're a little
man.
bit ahead?
Yeah, I'm right. Yeah, I'm going to be probably about eight seconds ahead of you. So like I said, I'll try to back off as much as I can.
A lot of years. These
Yeah,
theater
if he
moments that
says
every
something
president
crazy,
and
don't yell before we hear it.
Yeah, I'll wait till you
It's
yell.
always something fun to watch.
It is, and this is particularly interesting because
If you guys-
And I mean, what's neat about this is I'm getting to see some comments on Fox News.
Oh, that'll be cool.
I mean, I haven't seen it here, guys. I've not seen any angry faces right now.
He's walking
Yeah,
in with House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who's the
Linda made a
closest
good
person,
comment.
his closest ally
hang on
in
here.
either chamber.
Linda Brenazier said, so brave to do this for us. He could live in luxury forever and not blink. But no, he's here for us.
The majority
That's
whip,
right.
who was nearly
I need
fatally
one more
shot
second, Francis,
in
to adjust
June
these
at
earphones,
baseball
okay?
practice, and
I'll be right
recently
back.
was recovering from yet another surgery. It is really, really heartening to everyone in that chamber that Steve Scalise is back in good
Here we
form
go.
and
He's
with
coming
them
down.
tonight.
This is going to be. I don't know what. I mean, we know basically what he's going to talk about. Of course, he's going to talk about the economy and how great it is, and how much it's been improving, jobs, the GDP, the deficit. I don't think he'll go into the wall and immigration a lot, other than I think he'll talk about the security of the country. I think what we'll hear is we'll hear some really, really strong words, some really strong language, but still in this a little bit of a vague kind of a sense. Seems to be the go-to
An
for these
icon like Congressman Lewis
State of the Union
is quite a statement.
addresses.
I think it,
But I'm looking
again,
forward to it. I
think it's-
cannot
they should
wait.
Come to these events
Do you
and honor
guys?
the office of the
Do you guys?
president who is in power.
What do you guys think about the
And,
closed caption
they
on
should
there?
behave
Sorry, I'm
themselves
trying to get
when
my
they're
thoughts
there.
here
No
together because I got.
screaming,
If you
no
can't tell,
hooting.
okay, if I'm looking here, this is where the
But,
camera is on the laptop on the computer.
It's a tradition
But
in our
I've
democracy
got now.
that
I've got
is
another
important
monitor
to
here that has two screens on it, or two windows on it, and then I got the iPad
so
here so I can watch
Speaker Ryan
everybody's
got the blue
comments.
tie
So
memo
if
that
I'm
he
looking
did at the
around, I'm
same
not
time
ignoring you,
as
Ty. I'm trying to track what's
10-4.
going on.
Well, no, you guys, just so you know, the comments on Fox are all pretty good right here. I mean, I haven't seen, I'm a mother of active duty, thank you, Mr. President. Not to stand and applaud is a lack of respect. Hope this is so good that Juan and Shep choke on it.
Yeah. What do you
It was
guys?
a great year for 2017. Oh, all good comments, guys. So just be good knowing that there's good comments.
What do you guys think about the closed caption that's up on that right now? I can take it off if it's a pain in the butt.
Let me know when he starts speaking for you.
It might help. Okay, I'll let you know. I'm gonna leave him on there just in case we talk over the top of him. We're gonna see flashes of people, and I'm just gonna grunt and
Members of
groan.
Congress, I have the high privilege and the distinct honor of presenting to you the President of the United States.
Mr. Donald J. Trump. If mid-speech I switch it to a screen where it doesn't show Ty and I, you can still hear us, but I might have to take a bathroom break. I didn't even go to the bathroom before we started. I've been sitting here getting it all set up.
Mr. Speaker.
Now he spoke.
Mr. Vice President.
I'm about a minute ahead of
Members
you.
of Congress. The First Lady of the United States. And my fellow Americans. Less than 1 year has passed since I first stood at this podium in this majestic chamber to speak on behalf of the American people and to address their concerns, their hopes, and their dreams. That night, our new administration had already taken very swift action. A new tide of optimism was already sweeping across our land. Each day since, we have gone forward with a clear vision and a righteous mission.
Gotta love him.
To make America great again for all Americans.
Whew. Oh.
Over the last year, we have made incredible progress and achieved extraordinary success. We have faced challenges we expected and others we could never have imagined. We have shared in the heights of victory and the pains of hardship. We have endured floods and fires and storms. But through it all, we have seen the beauty of America's soul and the steel in America's spine. Each test has forged new American heroes to remind us who we are.
Hey, Francis, if you get rid of that big screen, I can keep up through the closed captioning.
We saw the volunteers
There you go,
of the Cajun Navy racing to the rescue with their fishing
Thank you,
boats
brother.
to save people in the aftermath of a totally devastating hurricane. We saw strangers shielding civilians from a hail of gunfire on the Las Vegas Strip. We heard tales of Americans like Coast Guard Petty Officer Ashley Leopard, who is here tonight in the gallery with Melania.
Wow.
Hear him bring up the Cajun Navy. Nice, huh?
Yeah. Oh, don't do me like this. But that's okay because that's why.
Already takes through 18 hours of wind and rain. Ashley braved live power lines and deep water to help save more than 40 lives. Ashley, we all thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Ashley and the hundreds of other volunteers, if not, well, thousands probably. Everybody, that was pretty amazing.
Yes. This president is pro-American. You hear it in his voice. All he's talked about is we the people since he stood up.
David Dahlberg.
I like it.
He's here
God,
with
there's
us
a lot of
also.
people that did amazing things
David
down there.
faced down walls of flame
It was
to
awesome.
rescue almost 60 children trapped at a California summer camp threatened by those devastating wildfires. To everyone still recovering in Texas, Florida, Louisiana, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands, everywhere, we are with you, we love you, and we always will pull through together, always.
I like that he's bringing up some of the humanitarian and things that happen in the country. It's not just all straight
for
politics,
sure.
you know. There's some social.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
He's talking about us,
Yeah,
the good part
real
about us,
people.
because the press is making us look horrible around the world, and thank God he's out speaking the voice of the common man to the world.
Thank you to David and the brave people of California. Thank you very much, David. Great job.
Yep.
Some trials over the past year touched this chamber very personally. With us tonight is one of the toughest people ever to serve in this House. A guy who took a bullet, almost died, and was back to work 3.5 months later. The legend from Louisiana, Congressman Steve Scalise.
Congressman Scalise. What a man.
Yeah. Still going through surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
God bless him, though, for what he's been through. You know, it's changed his life immensely.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
I think they like you, Steve. We're incredibly grateful for the heroic efforts of the Capitol Police officers, the Alexandria Police, and the doctors, nurses, and paramedics who saved his life and the lives of many others, some in this room. In the aftermath, yes.
Oh, the feed. Everybody's logging on now. Everybody's getting online. Everybody's watching it online. Everything's bogging down. Hey, Kelly. Hey, Kelly, how you doing? Linda says clapping again.
Right.
In the aftermath of that terrible shooting, we came together, not as Republicans or Democrats, but as representatives of the people. But it is not enough to come together only in times of tragedy. Tonight, I call upon all of us to set aside our differences, to seek out common ground, and to summon the unity we need to deliver.
Oh, look
for
at
the
Crybaby
people.
Chucky.
This
Crybaby
is
Chucky.
really the key. These
I
are
just
the
can't wait to see
people
Nancy's
we
face.
were elected
Good.
to serve.
Is that Michael Jackson? Sorry. Schumer's clapping.
No.
And Pelosi's exploding.
Oh, Pelosi might not make it through tonight. She's
over the last
All
year.
I can
the
tell
world
you
has
is, you guys,
seen
I'm a little ahead,
what
and
we
just wait
always
till the
knew,
next set of applause
that
is
no
when they show the
people
crowd.
on earth are so fearless or daring or determined as Americans. If there is a mountain, we climb it. If there's a frontier, we cross it. If there's a challenge, we tame it. If there's an opportunity, we seize it. So let's begin tonight by recognizing that the state of our union is strong because our people are strong.
Wow. Wow. Now see how those Democrats are starting to stand up? None of them would stand. Look at, she's up. Look at that. What's that, Cory
And
Booker
together
standing
we are
up
building
too?
a safe, strong, and proud
They can't help themselves.
America. Since
Yeah,
the
they'll look
election,
horrible on TV.
we have created 2.4 million new jobs.
Safe, strong,
including
2.4 what's
million.
wrong with that?
New jobs.
Including 200,000 new jobs in manufacturing alone.
Wow.
Tremendous number.
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
After years and years of wage stagnation, we are finally seeing rising wages.
Look at back there, Ryan and the VP, how happy.
It's beautiful.
Rising wages.
Unemployment claims have hit a 45-year low. And something I'm very proud of.
Go Cubbies.
African-American unemployment stands at the lowest rate ever recorded.
It's here. There's so many little things, and
Did you hear that guy yell, "Here, here"?
You add them all up.
Yeah.
And it's not just one little thing. It's the compounding effect of all of these little factors. And it's almost, it's like he knew it.
Oh,
And
yeah,
Hispanic
no.
American
He told us.
unemployment
Here's the thing:
has
is he's a
also
man of his
reached
word.
the lowest levels in history.
Hispanic American unemployment at the lowest levels in history.
Small business confidence is
You
at
guys,
an
all the
all-time
comments are
high.
positive on Fox.
The
I'm
stock
telling you,
market
if I
has
see
smashed
one in there out of
record
there's
after
19,000
another,
people on there.
gaining $8 trillion and more in value in
crazy.
just this short period of
Pelosi
time.
has food
The
stuck
great
in her teeth.
news. The great news for Americans: 401k, retirement pension, and college savings accounts
Unbelievable.
have gone through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And just as I promised the American people from this podium 11 months ago, we enacted the biggest tax cuts and reforms
Right.
in American history.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Promises made, promises kept. I mean, look at how happy they are. Did you see like that look of Paul Ryan? That I'm so proud of you, man.
They all know
Look
it.
at Mitchie, baby.
They all
Look at
know
he
it.
can't. You look at him. He don't want to smile and break his face.
I know it.
Oh, look at him back there, man.
Like Paul Ryan.
Look at him. Look at him. He don't want to smile.
Paul Ryan's irritating me.
Our
just looking at
massive
him.
tax cuts provide tremendous relief for the middle class and small business. To lower tax rates for hardworking Americans, we nearly doubled the standard deduction for everyone.
Huge.
Now the first $24,000 earned by a married couple is completely tax-free.
Pretty unbelievable, man.
We also doubled the child tax credit.
That's going to be
Big
huge.
turn from socialism.
Yeah, that's going to be huge for a lot of people.
Wow.
A typical family of four making $75,000 will see their tax bill reduced by $2,000, slashing their tax bill in half.
Mm-hmm. Giddy up, Mr. President. Giddy up.
In April, this will be the last time you will ever file under the old and very broken system, and millions of Americans will have more take-home
Check
pay
that out.
starting next month. A lot
Check
more.
that out.
Yeah.
Broken system. He's fixing it all.
Yeah, somebody mentioned the Black Caucus is pouting. Ooh, that person looked angry. I didn't recognize him.
Yeah, it looks like he ate a bowl
We
of Wheeze that
eliminated
have been.
an especially cruel tax that fell mostly on Americans making less than $50,000 a year, forcing them to pay tremendous penalties simply because they couldn't afford government-ordered health care.
Mm-hmm.
We repealed
Right.
the core of the disastrous Obamacare.
Unbelievable.
The individual mandate is now
Individual mandate is now gone. Cheers. Oh. Ted Cruz. Oh, look at Bernie.
Oh, Bernie.
And look, Pelosi's not. She's carrying on some conversation about something else.
Oh, she's gonna get so mad they're gonna have to pull her off that chair.
I hope she blows a vessel, man.
Look at him clapping.
We slashed the business tax rate from 35% all the way down to 21%.
Say what? 35
so
to
American
21?
companies can compete and win
Yep.
against anyone else anywhere in the world.
That's so huge for business, and I know everybody
These changes
thinks it's
alone
the top.
are
but
estimated to increase average family income
Yeah,
by
but
more than
what people don't realize is the
$4,000.
top
Hang on,
1%
hang on.
earners
A
pay
lot of
90.
Hang on one sec. Oh, I missed it. Sorry, I know we got a delay, so you can't hear when he's starting to talk.
Small businesses have also received a massive tax cut and can now deduct 20% of their business income. Here tonight are Steve Staub and Sandy Keplinger of Staub Manufacturing, a small beautiful business in Ohio. They've just finished the best year in their 20-year history.
Sorry, he was talking about business tax cuts.
Yeah, I was reading it.
That's going to be so huge, man. People getting more pay, more raises, new positions, expanding of the company,
for sure.
new divisions within companies that'll make new leadership positions, new management
Because
positions.
of tax reform, they are handing out raises, hiring an additional
Just like
14
you're saying right
people,
now.
and expanding into the building next door.
Expanding in the building
Good
next
feeling.
door, raising wages, hiring new people. It's exactly what I said. People think it's a big cut for the top, but it's not.
Corey Adams is also with us tonight. Corey
Good
is
for
an
him.
all-American
Thank you, sir,
worker.
for being a great American.
He supported himself through high school, lost his job during the 2008 recession, and was later hired by Staub, where he trained to become a welder. Like many hardworking Americans, Corey plans to invest his tax cut raise into his new home and his two daughters'
There you go.
education. Corey, please stand.
That's the American dream right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about.
It's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening.
Awesome. The American dream.
And he's a great welder.
For
I was
everybody.
told that by
We've got a
the man that owns that company
new
that's doing
person
so
with
well.
us.
So congratulations, Corey.
Tuvalegi Daisy Sandcamp
Since we
Tago.
passed tax cuts, roughly 3
I hope I got that
million
close.
workers have already gotten tax cut bonuses. Many of them thousands and thousands of dollars per worker, and it's getting more every month, every week. Apple has just announced it plans to invest a total of $350 billion in America and hire another 20,000 workers.
Right. 20,000 more jobs, 350 billion repatriated, reinvested.
Look at Kane clapping.
Yep.
Look at him. The creepy Uncle Kane.
Yep. Oh, I got to pee so bad, but I don't want to miss anything.
And just a little while ago, ExxonMobil announced a $50 billion investment in the United States. Just a
Say
little
it
while.
again, Mr. President.
Right.
You don't say.
Lay it on him thick, my brother.
50 biggins.
This, in fact, is our new American moment. There has never been a better time to start living the American dream. So to every citizen watching at home tonight,
listen up.
No matter where you've been or where you've come from, this is your time. If you work hard, if you believe in yourself, if you believe in America, then you can dream anything. You can be anything.
Mm-hmm.
And together,
Amen.
we can achieve absolutely anything.
Amen. God bless you, sir. If that don't hit you in the feels, I don't know what does.
Oh, that tickles my feelers.
Yeah, man, that's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
He cares about
What
us.
really tickles me though is that I know that it's not BS.
Tonight, I want to
This is
talk
true.
about what kind of future
Promises
we're going
made,
to have
promises kept.
and what kind of a nation we're going to be. All of us together as one team, one people, and one American family can do anything. We all share the same home, the same heart, the same destiny, and the same great American flag.
There he is. There's the unity message. That's a unification message.
Yeah.
It's not like listening to.
Are they going to get up for it?
Yeah. There you go. It's not like listening to Obama when he's telling us about how great the economy's going in his State of the Union. Remember, we were all sitting at home going, "What are you talking about? What world are you living in?"
Together,
Liar,
we are
right?
rediscovering the American way. In America, we know that faith and family, not government and bureaucracy, are the center
Yep.
of American life. The motto is, "In God we trust."
Amen.
God, I feel I should have put on a suit with my American flag lapel pin, and I should have gotten in the moment for this tonight.
In God we trust. Wow. Oh, they hate having to clap.
And we celebrate our police,
enjoy listening
our military,
to this.
And our amazing veterans.
There you go.
Heroes who deserve our total
Police, military, and veterans.
Support.
All public
Pretty
service.
unbelievable. Hear, hear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, the comments, you guys on Fox, are just rolling through positive, no angry faces. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this.
A 12-year-old boy from Redding, California, who noticed that veterans' graves were not marked with flags on Veterans Day.
Mm-hmm.
He decided all by himself to change that and started a movement that has now placed 40,000 flags at the graves of our great heroes. Preston, a job well done.
Awesome. Need more kids like him.
Yes, definitely. Way to go, kid.
Yeah, awesome.
Young patriots
If you're
like
watching,
Preston teach
we want you
all
on the
of
show.
us about our civic duty as Americans. And I met Preston a little while ago, and he is something very special that I can tell you. Great future. Thank you very much for all you've done, Preston. Thank you very much. Preston's reverence for those who have served our nation reminds us of why we salute our flag, why we put our hands on our hearts for the Pledge of Allegiance, and why we proudly stand for the national anthem.
Right.
That's right.
Take that, Colin.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to get my stuff here. There we go.
Did you ever think a president would have to say that
No.
in his own country?
I never thought an American would have to say that. I never thought anybody would have to say in this country, you need to stand for the flag.
Right.
But then again, I went to school during a time when we actually
Americans
stood
love their country.
for the
And they
for something.
deserve a government that
Yeah.
shows them the same love
for the pledge.
and loyalty in return. For the last year, we have sought to restore the bonds of trust between our citizens and their government. Working with the Senate, we are appointing judges who will interpret the Constitution as written, including a great new Supreme Court justice and more circuit court judges than any new administration in the history of our country.
Nice job, Mr. Prez.
We are totally defending our Second Amendment and have taken historic actions to protect religious liberty. And we are
DeVos.
serving our brave veterans, including giving our veterans choice in their health care decisions.
Awesome.
Last year, Congress also passed, and I signed, the landmark VA Accountability Act.
That wasn't talked about a lot, but that was pretty important.
Since its passage, my administration has already removed more than 1,500 VA employees who failed to give our veterans the care they deserve And we are hiring
Bingo.
talented people.
Yeah, he's
who
on it
love our
tonight, man.
vets as much as we do.
Bingo. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You don't take care of our veterans, then you're out of a job, and I'm going to take care of you. It's that simple.
Right.
And I will not stop until our veterans are properly taken care of, which has been my promise to them from the very beginning of this great journey.
Wow.
All Americans deserve accountability and respect, and that's what we are giving to our wonderful heroes, our veterans. Thank you. So tonight
General
I call
Kelly.
on Congress to empower every cabinet secretary with the authority to reward good workers and to remove federal employees who undermine the public trust or fail the American people. In our drive to make Washington accountable, we have eliminated more regulations in our first year than any administration in the history of our country.
Yes. I like that, getting rid of regulations. Less regulations. That was one of the greatest things I heard, was when he said for every one new, we're going to get rid of two.
The war on American energy, and we have ended the war on beautiful, clean coal.
That's important. It's important to pull weight in the world.
It's big steps for jobs.
There's Chow.
We are now very proudly an exporter of energy to the world.
Yes. Enough of this constant consumption and buying.
In Detroit, I halted government mandates that crippled America's great, beautiful auto workers so that we can get Motor City revving its engines again, and that's what's happening.
Yep.
That would be good for that state too, if they could get some production going again, some manufacturing.
Many car companies are now building and expanding plants in the United States, something we haven't seen for decades. Chrysler is moving a major plant from Mexico to Michigan. Toyota and Mazda are opening up a plant in Alabama, a big one, and we haven't seen this in a long time. It's all coming back.
It's all coming back, he says. It's all coming back. The jobs, the pride, the support, the respect, the defense, the income, the economy, the family.
Very soon,
making
auto
America
plants
great
and other
again.
plants
That's right.
will be opening up all over our country. This is all news Americans are totally unaccustomed to hearing. For many years, companies and jobs were only leaving us. But now, they are roaring back. They're coming back. They want to be where the action is. They want to be in the United States of America. That's where they want to be.
Oh, yeah.
They want to be in the United States of America.
Where the
Exciting
action
progress is happening every single day. To speed access to breakthrough cures and affordable generic drugs, last year, the FDA approved more new and generic drugs and medical devices than ever before in our country's history.
Ooh, Nancy, boo.
Lots of awesome comments
We
too
also
on
believe that
the Facebook feed.
with terminal
Thanks everybody for
conditions,
joining with us
terminal illness, should
in this
have
beautiful
access
celebration.
to experimental treatment immediately that could potentially save their lives. People who are terminally ill should not have to go from country to country to seek a cure. I want to give them a chance right here at home. It's time for Congress to give these wonderful, incredible Americans the right to try.
Yeah, let them try it out. Quit holding people back based on one person's idea or one group's.
Yeah.
One of my greatest priorities
Yeah, it's nice to hear all this,
is to
man.
reduce the price of prescription drugs.
Yeah, Captain America, I see what you're saying too. He said it's all coming back. He said that's not necessarily a good thing. This is true. Some things we don't want back.
That's right.
In many other countries, these drugs cost far less
Good
than
trade,
what
Gowdy.
we pay in the United States, and it's very, very unfair. That is why I've directed my administration to make fixing the injustice of high drug prices one of my top priorities for the year.
Are you still seeing the closed captioning process?
Lost it. It comes and goes, I think, with the feed.
Yeah, I think so.
Did you lose it on your Fox News
And
feed?
prices will come down
No, I'm good. I was just
substantially.
wondering if you had it,
Watch.
so that's all.
America has also finally turned the page on decades of unfair trade deals that sacrificed our prosperity and shipped away our companies,
Yeah.
our jobs, and our wealth. Our nation has lost its wealth, but we're getting it back so fast. The era of economic surrender is totally over. From now on, we expect trading relationships to be fair and, very importantly, reciprocal.
What's wrong with fair and reciprocal?
Well, that's the whole point of trade. Like
When you
that's the whole
stick with your
concept
own
of
country.
Yeah, that's the whole concept of trade.
Like you said in Davos, you should all be pulling for your countries.
We will work to fix bad trade deals and negotiate new ones, and they'll be good ones, but they'll be fair. And we will protect American workers and American intellectual property through strong enforcement of our trade rules.
Good. And trade was a big
As we
thing.
rebuild our industries, it is also time to
Big issue.
rebuild our crumbling infrastructure.
Here we go. This is one people have been waiting to hear.
Yeah, and you know what I'm excited about? I'm excited to see how the independents pull during this, because they're all about the economy, and they should be just running right along with the Republicans, you'd think.
Yep.
America is a nation of builders. We built the Empire State Building in just 1 year. Isn't it a disgrace that it can now take 10 years just to get a minor permit approved for the building of a simple road?
Yep. Red tape, bureaucracy, fees, permits, money. Local government following suit.
I am asking both parties
Right,
to
just
come
choking
together
out-
to give
choking
us
out
safe,
growth.
fast, reliable, and modern infrastructure that our economy needs and
Both
our people
parties.
deserve.
Look at it.
Right? Oh,
I
yeah.
love it. It's so much fun.
Right.
I love seeing Pelosi just...
Tonight, I'm calling on Congress to produce
You mean MJ?
A bill that generates at least $1.5 trillion for the new infrastructure investment that our country so desperately needs. Every federal dollar should be leveraged by partnering with state and local governments and, where appropriate, tapping into private sector investment to permanently fix the infrastructure deficit, and we can do it.
It's got a plan.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody was laughing. They loved to see Pelosi's face.
Any bill must also streamline the permitting and approval process, getting it down to no more than 2 years and perhaps even 1. Together, we can reclaim our great building heritage. We will build gleaming new roads, bridges, highways, railways, and waterways all across our land. And we will do it with American heart, and American hands, and American grit.
I agree with what Brian Adams said here on Facebook. He says, where's all the infrastructure money that's already been campaigned on by both sides?
We want every American to know the dignity of a hard day's work.
It's gone with everything else.
We want every child to be safe in their home at night. And we want every citizen to be proud of this land that we all love so much. We can lift our citizens from welfare to work, from dependence to independence, and from poverty to prosperity.
Bernie. Look at him.
Oh, look at him. He's like, oh, everybody's going to jail at the end of the week, and I hope I'm not sharing a cell with Hillary because she'll beat me with the chair.
As tax
He has
cuts
to clap.
create new jobs, let's invest in workforce development, and let's invest in job training, which we need so badly.
Yes.
Right.
Job training, trade schools.
Yeah. How many kids get lost in the shuffle when they should be handed a hammer when they're a junior in high school?
Let's open great vocational schools so our future workers can learn a craft and realize their full potential.
Yep.
And let's support working families by supporting paid family leave.
I knew he's gonna throw in, some of these things, but he said supporting paid family leave.
As America regains its strength,
He didn't say pay for it.
opportunity must be extended to all citizens.
All citizens.
That is why this year we will embark on reforming our prisons to help former inmates who have served their time get a second chance at life.
I'd like to know what his plan is to do that. Because those things are very vague. I still question.
Struggling communities,
I love
especially
it.
immigrant communities,
Question.
will also be helped by immigration policies that focus on the best interests of American workers and American families. For decades, open borders have allowed drugs and gangs to pour into our most vulnerable communities. They've allowed millions of low-wage workers to compete for jobs and wages against the poorest Americans. Most tragically,
This is true.
they have caused the loss of many innocent lives.
And this is also true.
Here tonight are two fathers and two mothers, Evelyn Rodriguez,
Ask Agnes
Freddie
Givney.
Cuevas, Elizabeth Alvarado, and Robert Mickens. Their two teenage daughters, Kayla Cuevas and Nisa Mickens, were close friends on Long Island. But in September 2016, on the eve of Nisa's 16th birthday, such a happy time it should have been, neither of them came home. These two precious girls were brutally murdered while walking together
Sad.
in their hometown.
One story of many.
6 members of the savage MS-13 gang have been charged with Kayla and Nisa's murders. Many of these gang members took advantage of glaring loopholes in our laws to enter the country as illegal, unaccompanied alien minors and wound up in Kayla
Dreamers.
and Nisa's high school. Evelyn, Elizabeth, Freddie, and Robert, tonight everyone in this chamber is praying for you. Everyone in America is grieving for you. Please stand. Thank you very much.
Sad, man. Sad.
Yeah.
Avoidable.
Well,
Completely.
they live in their ivory towers. They don't care how the rest of us live, man.
Completely avoidable. Absolutely avoidable.
Yeah, sad, sad day.
I want you to know that 320 million hearts are right now breaking for you. We love you. Thank you. While we cannot imagine the depths of that kind of sorrow, we can make sure that other families never have to endure this kind of pain. Tonight I am calling on Congress to finally close the deadly loopholes that have allowed MS-13 and other criminal gangs to break into our country. We have proposed new legislation that will fix our immigration laws and support our ICE and Border Patrol agents. These are great people. These are great, great people that work so hard in the midst of such danger, so that this can never happen again.
There's too many stories like that, you know. If anybody missed the show where we had the honor to interview Agnes Givney and hear a little bit of the story of her just incredible loss and her son murdered by an illegal alien.
The United States is a compassionate nation. We are proud that we do more than any other country anywhere in the world to help the needy, the struggling, and the underprivileged all over the world. But as President of the United States, my highest loyalty, my greatest compassion, my constant concern is for America's children, America's struggling workers, and America's forgotten communities. I want our youth to grow up, to achieve great things. I want our poor to have their chance to rise. So tonight, I am extending an open hand to work with members of both parties, Democrats and Republicans, to protect our citizens of every background, color, religion, and creed.
Yep.
My duty and the sacred duty of every elected official in this chamber is to defend Americans, to protect their safety, their families, their communities, and their right to the American dream. Because Americans are dreamers too.
Amen to that.
Yeah, amen. Right. Somebody needs to just say it. Isn't it like Christmas morning? When you're 12.
Here tonight is one leader in the effort to defend our country. Homeland Security Investigation Special Agent Celestino Martinez. He goes by DJ and CJ. He said, call me either one. so we'll call you CJ. Served 15 years in the Air Force before becoming an ICE agent and spending the last 15 years fighting gang violence and getting dangerous criminals off of our streets. Tough job. At one point, MS-13 leaders ordered CJ's murder, and they wanted it to happen quickly. But he did not cave to threats or to fear. Last May, he commanded an operation to track down gang members on Long Island. His team has arrested nearly 400, including more than 220 MS-13 gang members. And I have to tell you,
I like that.
what the Border Patrol and ICE have done. We have sent thousands and thousands and thousands of MS-13 horrible people out of this country or into our prisons. So I just want to congratulate you, CJ. You're a brave guy. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Right. Thank you for your service, sir.
And I asked CJ, what's the secret? He said, we're just tougher than they are. And I like that answer.
I like it.
Yeah.
Now let's get Congress to send you and all of the people in this great chamber have to do it. We have no choice. CJ, we're going to send you reinforcements, and we're going to send them to you quickly. It's what you need. Over the next few weeks, the House and Senate will be voting on an immigration reform package. In recent months, my administration has met extensively with both Democrats and Republicans to craft a bipartisan approach to immigration reform. Based on these discussions, we presented Congress with a detailed proposal that should be supported by both parties as a fair compromise, one where nobody gets everything they want, but where our country gets the critical reforms it needs and must have.
She don't want to get up.
Heck no.
Here are the 4 pillars of our plan.
Come on, Rubio.
The first pillar of our framework generously offers a path to citizenship for 1.8 million illegal immigrants who were brought here by their parents at a young age. That covers almost 3 times more people than the previous administration.
Wow, 1.8. What do they want?
Well, it's because they know.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's because they know there's a path to citizenship.
Under our plan,
You got to meet all the
those who
requirements.
meet education and work requirements.
Education and work.
And show good moral character.
Good moral character.
Will be able to become full citizens of the United
There you go.
States over a 12-year period.
12-year period. I still don't love it, but I got to see the details before I make a final decision.
The second pillar fully secures the border.
All I know is it's huge that he told them it's 3 times more than the previous administration, because people don't know that unless you look into it.
That's right. If you don't look in and actually compare it,
That
you wouldn't
means
know.
building a great wall on the southern border, and it means hiring more heroes like CJ to keep our communities safe. Crucially, our plan closes the terrible loopholes exploited by criminals and terrorists to enter our country, and it finally ends the horrible and dangerous practice of catch and release.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. Why we were paying?
Makes no sense.
We were paying
Ted Cruz.
We were paying law enforcement agents to guard the border
pillar
to do nothing.
Ends the visa lottery, a program that randomly hands out green cards without any regard for skill, merit, or the safety of American people.
Right. Yes. Brian Adams is right. They asked for 800,000 and they're offered $1 million more than what they asked for. And they're still pouting like a bunch of little babies.
It's time to begin moving toward a merit-based immigration system. One that admits people who are skilled, who want to work, who will contribute to our society, and who will love and respect our country.
Merit-based.
Like everything else in the
world. Like life,
right.
Like a job, like school, like grades, like pay, like raises,
getting into college,
like getting into college, like advancing in the military.
The fourth and final pillar protects
everything.
The nuclear family by ending chain migration.
There you go. There we go. He better damn well do all this. That's all I gotta say.
Under the current broken system, a
He's
single
trying.
immigrant can bring in virtually unlimited numbers of distant relatives. Under our plan, we focus on the immediate family by limiting sponsorships to spouses and minor children.
That's all right.
Good.
This vital reform is necessary not just for our economy, but for our security and for the future of America. In recent weeks, 2 terrorist attacks in New York were made possible by the visa lottery and chain migration. In the age of terrorism, these programs present risks we can just no longer afford.
Oh, don't do it. He's right though. We can't continue to afford to have this type of extended chain migration.
No, because it's just letting more and more people in. They were unvetted and just allowed in.
Mm-hmm. And it keeps growing. Oh man, why would they kill the feed now? It's not just not right.
That puts America first.
Killing me, Smalls.
Yeah.
So let's come together, set politics aside, and finally get the job done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. What else do they want?
I don't know.
They look so bad tonight. He's just slaying them.
These
Both
reforms
sides.
will also support our response to the terrible crisis of opioid and drug addiction. Never before has it been like it is now. It is terrible. We have to do something about it.
Well.
In 2016, we lost 64,000 Americans to drug overdoses, 174 deaths per day, 7 per hour. We must get much tougher on drug dealers and pushers if we are going to succeed in stopping this scourge.
I'm glad I had 2 feeds lined up.
Right. Awesome, brother. Thank you. That's by building that wall also. So you stop a lot of the sources.
My administration is committed to fighting the drug epidemic and helping get treatment for those in need, for those who have been so terribly hurt. The struggle will be long and it will be difficult, but as Americans always do, in the end, we will succeed, we will prevail.
succeed.
I love it when they show
As we have seen
Pelosi.
tonight, the most difficult challenges bring out the best in America.
Michael.
We see a vivid expression of this truth in the story of the Holetz family of New Mexico. Ryan Holetz is 27 years old, an officer with the Albuquerque Police Department. He's here tonight with his wife, Rebecca.
Oh, that's the guy that was sitting next to her.
Thank you, Ryan. Last year, Ryan was on duty when he saw a pregnant, homeless woman preparing to inject heroin. When Ryan told her she was going to harm her unborn child, she began to weep. She told him she didn't know where to turn, but badly wanted a safe home for her baby. In that moment, Ryan said he felt God speak to him. You will do it.
Wow.
Because you can. He heard those words. He took out a picture of his wife and their 4 kids. Then he went home to tell his wife, Rebecca. In an instant, she agreed to adopt the whole.
What?
Yep.
It's named their new daughter Hope.
Huh.
Ryan and Rebecca.
Wow.
You were.
Oh, feed is
Rogue
killing me.
regimes, terrorist groups, and rivals like China and Russia that challenge our interests, our economy, and our values. In confronting these horrible dangers, we know that weakness is the surest path to conflict, and unmatched power is the surest means to our true and great defense. For this reason, I am asking Congress to end the dangerous defense sequester and fully fund our great military.
Mad dog. He's like, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Bombs, guns, tanks.
Love that guy.
Yeah.
As part of our defense, we must modernize and rebuild our nuclear arsenal, hopefully never having to use it, but making it so strong and so powerful that it will deter any acts of aggression by any other nation or anyone else.
Yeah.
Perhaps someday in the future there will be a magical moment when the countries of the world will get together to eliminate their nuclear weapons. Unfortunately, we are not there yet, sadly. Last year, I also pledged that we would work with our allies to extinguish ISIS from the face of the earth.
Yeah.
1 year later,
Right.
I am proud to report that
From
the
the face of the
coalition to
earth.
defeat ISIS has liberated very close to 100% of the territory just recently held by these killers in Iraq and in Syria.
Yeah, it's been huge,
and in other
huge headway
locations as well.
Yeah,
against
for sure.
ISIS.
to 100% of the territory.
I'm going to switch back to the Fox feed. It's a little bit behind, but
in Iraq and in Syria and in other locations as well.
I'd rather be watching the Fox feed than the CBS feed. I just tell you that.
It's out of principle.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though Fox sometimes torches me a little bit lately. Dan Rodriguez can't wait to see the Dems' head explode in their response.
But there is much more work to be done.
I can't wait to see them all start getting locked up when the memo's out.
Until ISIS is defeated. Army Staff Sergeant Justin Peck is here tonight. Near Raqqa last November, Justin and his comrade, Chief Petty Officer Kenton Stacy, were on a mission to clear buildings that ISIS had rigged with explosive so that civilians could return to that city, hopefully soon and hopefully safely. Clearing the second floor of a vital hospital, Kenton Stacy was severely wounded by an explosion. Immediately, Justin bounded into an airway. He then performed CPR for 20 straight minutes during the ground transport and maintained artificial respiration through 2.5 hours and through emergency surgery. Kenton Stacy would have died if it were not for Justin's selfless love for his fellow warrior. Tonight, Kenton is recovering in Texas. Raqqa is liberated, and Justin is wearing his new Bronze Star with a V for valor. Staff Sergeant Peck, all of America salutes you.
Amen to that one.
Right. What a good night.
Wow. Is that your phone that keeps vibrating? Or mine?
Yeah, mine.
I thought it was mine. I'm not as popular. Wow.
Took it away.
Terrorists who do things like place bombs in civilian hospitals are evil. When possible, we have no choice but to annihilate them. When necessary, we must be able to detain and question them. But we must be clear, terrorists are not merely criminals. They are unlawful enemy combatants.
Like a boss.
Yep. Hey.
He's letting them know that's a shot fired across the bow.
We're in a war, man. This is it.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah, like that general said, we'll kill you with an E-tool.
That's right.
And when captured overseas, they should be treated like the terrorists they are. In the past, we have foolishly released hundreds and hundreds of dangerous terrorists, only to meet them again on the battlefield, including the ISIS leader, al-Baghdadi, who we captured, who we had, who we released. So today, I'm keeping another promise. I just signed, prior to walking in, an order directing Secretary Mattis, who is doing a great job. Thank you.
Directing him to what?
You don't want to smile. Oh, you cracked it.
To re-examine our military detention policy and to keep open the detention facilities in Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, because we got to have somewhere to send Hillary and Obama.
Wow, I know. Isn't it insane what could
Rosenstein.
happen? They said people could be in jail, people fired.
Comey, Lynch,
I'm asking Congress to
Holder.
ensure that in the fight against ISIS and Al-Qaeda, we continue to have all necessary power to detain terrorists wherever we chase them down, wherever we find them. And in many cases, for them, it will now be Guantanamo Bay.
do you think that he's thrown in Guantanamo a couple of times just to maybe send a shiver down some backs?
As of a few months ago,
Oh, for sure.
our warriors in Afghanistan have new rules of engagement.
I hope it says kill them before they kill you.
Along with their heroic Afghan partners, our military is no longer undermined by artificial timelines, and we no longer tell our enemies our plans.
No. Brilliant. Brilliant. Brilliant.
Hear, hear.
So we're not going to make imaginary red lines that get crossed and then we don't do anything, and we're not going to tell our enemies what we're going to do. I'd say we're light.
We're here this evening. We're here this evening, the night before a big secret strike.
Unanimously by the U.S. Senate just months before. I recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
Eric Ortiz says so much winning.
Right. Promises made, promises kept.
Winda says new rules of engagement is war by Madison Rising.
Yeah.
Shortly afterwards, dozens of
Shout out to
countries
Rio.
voted in the United Nations General Assembly against America's sovereign right to make this decision. In 2016, American taxpayers generously sent those same countries more than $20 billion in aid.
Mm-hmm.
That is why tonight I am asking Congress to pass legislation to help ensure American foreign assistance dollars always serve American interests and only go to friends of America, not enemies of America.
Mm-hmm.
America first, baby.
Well, yeah, and he's expanding it to, other countries that are friends of America.
That are America first countries, or America after
As
us
we
countries.
strengthen friendships all around the world, we are also restoring clarity about our adversaries. When the people of Iran rose up against the crimes of their corrupt dictatorship, I did not stay silent. America stands with the people of Iran in their courageous struggle for freedom.
Amen to that, too.
Remember that time Iran had net neutrality?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, I'd vote for her for president in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. I got to learn more about her, but I like her.
Address the fundamental flaws
She's
in the terrible Iran
hell on wheels.
nuclear deal. My administration has also imposed tough sanctions on the communist and socialist dictatorships in Cuba and Venezuela.
Don't worry, California is not too far behind Venezuela.
Yeah, it's pretty insane what's going on over there, man.
It's sad.
But no regime.
It's just a little bit of a drive from here to think, wow, I mean, so different.
Mm-hmm. Ugh, don't kill my feet again, you dirty rats.
Bounded into the booby-trapped, unbelievably waging a campaign of maximum pressure and found to prevent that from ever happening. Past experience has taught us that complacency and concessions only invite aggression and provocation. I will not repeat the mistakes of character of the North Korean regime to understand the nature of the nuclear threat it could pose to America and to our allies. Otto Warmbier was a hard-working student at the University of Virginia, and a great student he was. On his way to study abroad in Asia, Otto joined a tour. At its conclusion, this wonderful young man was arrested and charged with crimes against.
Killing me. Absolutely brutal. Trying to keep Fox up, but they don't want to keep it going.
We still froze up.
Terrorists who do things like place
What's
bombs
happening?
in civilian
A lot of drag on
are
them.
evil. When possible, we have no choice but to annihilate them. When necessary, we must be able to detain.
We're behind
and
in
question
rehearing.
them. But we must be clear.
Really?
Terrorists are not merely criminals. They are unlawful enemy combatants.
I can play it off the phone and we could listen to it. It's the only
Yeah,
way
I got
could think of.
I got both feeds are locked up now.
Yeah.
Linda said she went to another channel off of Google.
And when captured overseas,
I'm trying to
they
pull it
should
up.
be treated like the terrorists they are. In the past,
Well, all I know is he's knocking it out of the park tonight. I mean, he's stepping in right now, making definite, making a point of what he's done and his administration's done, backed by the, you know, we the people, the forgotten men and women of America that support him. He's basically outlined everything that he said he was going to do in the campaign that he's already started to do, and he's backed that up with proof and evidence. So to me, he's laid out a pretty good plan, and then he said, here's what we're going to move on for next. He talked about the health care, you know, and then, you know, we were sitting looking at immigration and then terrorism. So I mean, he's hit all the key points so far this evening.
and infrastructure.
Yeah, infrastructure. I mean, you know, he's talked about humanitarian crisis around the world to a certain. I mean, so he's really nailed it out of the park tonight.
No, he's been hitting it a lot.
To re-examine our military detention policy and to keep open
I hate technology,
the detention
man.
facilities
Yeah, I
in
get it.
Guantanamo Bay.
I hate it.
Like I said, the best I could do is give you audio.
Well, at least what we're hearing is a repeat, so maybe we won't miss anything because we're on a delay.
Yeah.
So I'm still listening.
To ensure
okay.
that in the fight against ISIS
I can still hear it.
and Al-Qaeda,
cool.
we continue to have all necessary power to detain terrorists wherever we chase them down, wherever we find them. And in many cases, for them, it will now be Guantanamo Bay.
Guantanamo Bay. I'm so glad that he's even mentioning that.
At the same time, as of a few months ago, our warriors in Afghanistan have new rules of engagement.
This feed's brutal. I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on getting it back up.
Along with their heroic Afghan partners, our military is no longer undermined by artificial timelines, and we no longer tell.
My big thing is I'm upset. I mean, you have some Democrats clapping because, I mean, the voters are watching, but I just don't understand why they won't try to get behind this guy. The obstruction has to stop, man. It just has to stop. They're not going to be able to keep pinning all this on him, and that's why I'm so glad he laid things out the way he did.
Last month, I also took an action endorsed
Oh, I'm glad he is too.
by the U.S. Senate.
This is his chance to speak to the people.
I recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Shortly afterwards, dozens of countries voted in the United Nations General Assembly against America's sovereign right to make this decision. In 2016, American taxpayers generously sent those same countries more than $20 billion in aid. That is why tonight I am asking Congress to pass legislation to help ensure American foreign assistance dollars always serve American interests and only go to friends of America, not enemies of America.
That was big.
Yeah.
Talking about even money going to those who support America, friends of America.
Yeah.
I see your comment, Mandy. I'm trying. I'm locked up if you guys couldn't see.
Friendships all around the world, we are also restoring clarity
Pinwheel of death.
about our adversaries. When the people of Iran rose up against the crimes of their corrupt dictatorship, I did not stay silent. America stands with the people of Iran in their courageous struggle for freedom.
I was glad that he mentioned that about Iran too. That was a good.
No, for sure. I agree 110%.
Yeah, Brian Adams said it's only been 1 year. Look at how much he's done.
Congress to
He's kept his oath.
Fundamental flaws.
That's right.
Oh, for sure, you guys. He's done some unbelievable things. Proud he's my president.
Deal. My administration has also imposed tough sanctions on the communist and socialist dictatorships in Cuba and Venezuela.
Take it off the fixed screen one.
But no
Trying to
regime
reload.
has oppressed its own citizens more totally or brutally than the cruel dictatorship in North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
North Korea's reckless pursuit
All right, now the feed's firing back up. Of course, it interrupted. Sorry there, ladies and gentlemen. We'll come back on. No, Dan Rodriguez said just turn on Fox News on the TV and then discuss it on here. That's awesome. Thanks, brother. The feed's coming back up here, so hopefully we will catch back up. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know why it all locked up.
It happens. It's the web, man.
Yeah, we're making the best do with what we're got going here. We're figuring out along the way, and sometimes I think my little machine here just can't quite keep up with all the good stuff we're trying to do, all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
But so far, man, I'm loving it. I know you can still hear it in the background. You're killing me with it. Here we go. Here it comes. That was a good idea, Dan, by the way. Brian's still in here. Mama Winter says they're chanting USA. That's awesome.
What makes America?
Yeah.
Like I said, I can play it on loud if you want.
Yeah, turn it, because we can't hear anything until I get the feedback up. Give us some sound. That must be the applause.
As long as we are proud of who we are and what we are fighting for, there is nothing we cannot achieve. As long as we have confidence in our values, faith in our citizens, and trust in our God, we will never fail. Our families will thrive, our people will prosper, and our nation will forever be safe and strong and proud and mighty and free.
Amen.
Thank you, and God bless America. Good night.
God bless you, Donald J. Trump.
Oh, we're going to get the end of it here. We're going to get a
There is
repeat.
nothing we
All right,
cannot
I got the
achieve.
sound back, brother.
As long as we have confidence in our values, faith in our citizens, and trust in our God, we will never fail. Our families will thrive, our people will prosper, and our nation will forever be safe and strong and proud and mighty and free. Thank you.
That was worth hearing again.
And God bless America. Good night.
And God bless America. Yeah, that was definitely, wow.
What a speech.
What a speech. Oops.
I'll probably listen to it another 2 times tonight.
Oh, that's what, I will too. That's what your mom was talking about. They're chanting USA at the end. Did you hear him in the background?
Yeah.
Wow, awesome.
I could hear, man, it's unbelievable. Man, it's so awesome to see an adult step to the podium, say what he's going to do it, have a plan for things, and not get offended by every little shot that's been fired across his bow.
Yep, and I'm glad that it's finally, I feel like, it's not complete BS. Like, I'm not just completely getting fed a line of just, what the president thinks we want to hear. Like I heard for the last 8 years about how good the economy is, how good jobs are, how good this is, how good that is, how good the fight against ISIS is going. And meanwhile, the whole time, we all knew. We all could see. This is the world we live in. We all could tell it was all BS. Let's see. Should we check in and see what's
getting
going on?
lied to.
Oh, lied. Should we check and see what's going on the comments? What everybody's got going on?
Yeah, I'm taking a look. Yeah, we got Debbie in here. That's all.
Oh, you're breaking.
Captain America.
Oh, now you're
still
back.
there, brother?
Yeah, you were breaking up, but now you're back.
Okay. Yeah, I see Captain America in here.
Yep.
Mama Winner, Michael.
Yep.
Got a good crowd, Chris.
Jeremy and Jenna.
Hey, Jeremy and Jenna, how you guys doing?
How you doing? Michael Cosper, haven't seen you in a while. Saw you in here earlier before. Brian Adams says...
That's right.
He says it was an actual State of the Union address.
Right. Yes, no, I have to agree 110%. This is what happens when adults show up in politics.
Yep, I agree.
That's right, Cecily, I love our president. He's a badass. Eric Ortiz, the Trump train baby. Wendy, my president.
Awesome. Whew. That was cool. That was exciting. I haven't been that...
Yeah, I
haven't been that excited.
We had a president that actually...
There we go. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I can hear you now.
All right. Yeah, it was the first State of the Union that I actually, honestly, that I can remember. I mean, obviously it's right now, but I'm trying to think back of when the last time I sat and really, really paid attention and watched an entire State of the Union address, and I don't think I ever did. Reagan, probably Reagan was the last time. Bush, I couldn't hardly stand listening to him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I've sat through them all, man. From to Obama, impressive. Like I said, he lets me think that I can dream, and that my hopes and wishes and dreams can come true, and that I'm not just working for the man.
Amen.
And that this work I'm going to put in is going to benefit not only myself but my children, and help me create a wealth for my children, so they're not having to work 3 or 4 jobs while going to college and trying to raise kids, and it's just those days are over with, guys. We've got to step up, and we have to get behind this man's lead, and we have to push for him like we're always saying, and the time is now, because here's the thing, is the deep state is real, and I've got a good feeling the deep state's almost come to a close. It's about done. But it's real. We have to back him up. We need this memo to come out. Remember, hashtag release the memo. Keep the pressure on him. Keep the pressure on him, guys. Got to back this guy up.
I think it's going to come out. I know, Ty, your face is frozen. We can still hear you, but I think it's going to come out sooner than the 4 days that I guess are left now. I don't know why I think that. I think it's going to come out, and I think that the president is going to hold off on saying anything. I think if it were me, I would just kind of let it go out there, give it a couple of days, let people see what they have to react about it. But
yeah, well, I think what's going to be really funny is once we get off of here and we can run and see what the Democrats' rebuttal is, and then I want to see the worry looked on their face when they walk out of there and they think in 5 days this could all be done.
Yep.
In 5 days, we don't know which one of us are going to be in the paddy wagon.
Nobody knows.
I don't know. Nobody knows.
It's going to be interesting. It'll be fun. I think it'll be fun. I can't wait.
I mean, here's the thing is from what I heard today in the news is that they went to the Hill on Sunday, looked at the document, and the FBI guy said, hey, there's some of this that I can validate, but there's things that I can't in here. I need to bring in specialists. They bring in 2 people. They take a look at it and verify it.
Right.
So, I mean, and from what I heard, a lot of the stuff in the memo that was going to be classified or deemed as secret, it was already been kind of pushed to the side. So then there wasn't going to be an issue there. So, I'm really excited to see it. It looks like Nunes put some time into it. And what I like about it is the time he put into it is, I think, kind of allowed him to think of every little trip up they could have on it.
I think I agree. And you know what's interesting, too? I was listening to I was listening to some radio show today. I can't recall. And I looked this up just to double check, and it was right. There was Nunes. He went to the White House back in May, I think, of 17, right?
Yeah. It was fresh in the presidency. That's when he come out and said, hey, there's nothing to see here. He was basically the big nothing burger guy.
Right. Well, but the key is that when he was, I think one of the keys is that when he was preparing and gathering all of the information to kind of prepare all of this, he went to the White House to research, to look up information. Now, there's certain information that you can't get anywhere unless you actually physically go to the White House. That would be things such as presidential briefs. Presidential briefs that may have included information about the Trump and Russian dossier. It may have also included information that would have that could show that President Trump knew how the information was obtained and then knew that information was used to obtain the FISA warrant. So it is possible that the reason that Nunes went to the White House, got this information, and then put it in this brief, it could mean that he is linking some of it at least to Obama's knowledge, or at least his awareness of it. So, I don't know. This thing could be bigger than we think. I hope it's bigger than we think. I hope it's huge.
Obama is the president. He is the man in charge. There's nothing that is supposed to go on without him knowing about it. And if it was, that's the fault of his own for not being able to micromanage his government.
Right, especially at that level when you're talking about FBI.
So that better not be an excuse.
No. When you're talking about FBI investigations and DOJ investigations into...
He was getting briefed, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, in secret meetings on tarmacs with Loretta Lynch, and I mean, it's ripe with stink.
It is, and I think we're gonna.
Trump's called it since day one.
I think we're gonna peel back the layers of the end. We're gonna see what's going on. Sherry Kirby said that she just checked, and all 3 major mainstream media are negative towards the speech. No surprise there. Hey, what do you say, brother? We let.
Oh no, that's okay.
What do you say we call it a night, and everybody can check out what's going on the mainstream media, and we can come back Thursday night for a regular
thanks everybody for joining us tonight.
Yeah,
awesome. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We'll get it worked out.
Yep, we're working on it. We're feeding through. So love all you guys for sticking with us, for coming in. Anybody could have just as easily sat at home, turned on Fox News, watched it, listened to the whole thing, not had us, talking over the top of it and deal with our technical difficulties. So really, really appreciate you guys.
But we love you.
Yeah, we love you. Appreciate you guys being with us and sharing out and sticking through it with us. Somebody wants me to ask Alexa what she thought about the speech. All right, hang on just a second. Let's grab Alexa.
And thank you, Francis, for holding it all together, man. Francis has got the fast fingers over there that keeps it all going.
You should see my desk right now. I wish I could show you, man. It's a disaster.
I can only imagine.
All right,
that's how my room is.
Let's see if Alexa's awake. Alexa, what did you?
Thanks, Terry.
What did you think of President Trump's State of the Union? I think she's ignoring me.
Time. Congressman Joe Kennedy will respond on behalf of the Democrats.
Hang on. We're going to try that again. What do you got to say? Alexa, what do you think about President Trump's State of the Union speech?
I don't have an opinion on that.
Of course you don't.
Ask Alexa what the capital of Israel is.
Alexa, what's the capital of Israel?
Israel has designated Jerusalem as its capital, but this has not been formally recognized by the international community.
Liar. We just acknowledged it, and we are the international community.
Dan told me to ask that question.
That was
Does anybody else, baby, before we hop off of here, does anybody else have a question for
Everybody's
Alexa?
got a good Alexa
Everybody
question.
loves Alexa, man. Everybody loves Alexa.
I don't. She's in my house.
Thanks, Neoma. Right.
I think she's.
Hey, you guys, we enjoy doing this with you guys.
We have a lot of
It's
fun.
great seeing the same faces in here and visiting with you guys. This is great. This is Patriot Family.
Yep, I agree.
Well, right on, brother. Love you, man. Talk to you soon. Hey, everybody, if we don't stand for the liberties and freedoms that we have today, our children, our grandchildren are not going to have them tomorrow. Get behind this president. He cares about America. He cares about you. He cares about your kids. And he cares about the future. So love you all, and I will see you on Thursday night, and I will talk to you soon, brother. Tell the family I said good night.
Amen, brother. And remember, question everything. Everything you read, everything you see, everything you hear. Even question the president and what he said in tonight's speech in the State of the Union, because one of the major reasons why we've gotten to the point we are right now in society and in our politics and in our governing is because we have not self-governed. And if we are going to get back to self-governing, we need to get back to self-questioning. Question ourselves, question our votes, question our elections, question our legislators, question our president, question the judicial system. We have to continue to question, because if they can't give us the answer, then we got a problem. There should be nothing wrong with questioning. So,
yep,
question everything.
And we have to let God guide you guys.
That's right. Question everything. Stay vigilant. We'll see you all Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and plan on. I hate doing this because things always come up, and then I miss it, and then I feel really bad. But I'm planning on tomorrow night catching everybody up on Cliff Notes with the book Islam and Terrorism. So that's my goal for tomorrow and tomorrow night. So now that I've said it, I got to really, really stick to it. So appreciate everything. Again, stay vigilant. Love you, brother. I'll probably talk to you tomorrow, and we'll see the rest of you on Thursday.
Freedom.
See you later, buddy.